Hey Beachbody Champions! I'm so excited to be here today to talk about something that's kind of a boring topic, like by name, time management, but it can be a really sexy thing in your business when you find your sweet spot. And so I'm going to talk to you about that today. Because it is a game changer in taking your business from 0 to 60, and you can have all of the things, and finding your sweet spot with time management is like anything else. It takes practice and consistency, but once you do, there's no stopping you. It's gonna be nuts. So a little bit about me. My name is Baldwin. I've been a coach for about 3.5 years. And up until last June, I was a full-time special ed teacher, and I have an 18-month-old baby. So for a big chunk of my business, I was working full-time, and I was either pregnant or had a new baby for most of it. And so I get being busy. We've moved twice. I got married during that time. It's been like, there's always things like, and I'm a firm believer in everybody fills the time that they have. And it can be, you have to choose to prioritize your time, whatever that looks like. And it looks different for everybody. But I'm here to tell you that it does not, taking on this venture, this side hustle doesn't need to, I think people say no right away because they think that you have to, especially if they see you that you are a full-time coach. I'm a full-time coach, but that doesn't mean I work full-time job hours necessarily. And obviously for a long time I didn't, because this wasn't humanly possible. Well, I already had a full-time teaching job. And while I was teaching, I was obviously not able to do things here or there. It had to be dedicated time. So I really built my business working 1 to 2 hours a day. I am a 6-figure earner, and my team, Flex, shout out to Flex Force, anyone watching live especially, thanks for your love. As of May, we locked in for Elite for 2019. So I did that while I was working full time, so it can be done. And I didn't feel like I was on burnout mode or anything. I've been there, I've learned from it, so I'm going to give you my tips. I have notes because you're at Summit, I'm a circle, and I could talk forever. So I want to use your time effectively. This doesn't need to be a long training. So I worked 1 to 2 hours a day because legitimately that's all I had. So I had to make it work. I knew I wanted the freedoms that I knew that Beachbody could give me that I couldn't get from my full-time teaching job, but I am not a wizard, so I couldn't create time to do the things. So I had to really learn to be disciplined and diligent with my time, and this is what I'm going to teach you how to do today with my little tips. Thanks, Taylor. The floor is where it's at, guys. So you have to be diligent and disciplined. So this is just an overall time management tip in any part of your life, is to do all of one task start to finish. So I'll give you the analogy of cleaning in your house. And if you're a mom, you've probably fallen victim to this. It's so easy if you're cleaning and you're start to vacuum, and then you're oh, look at all the dishes. You stop vacuuming, you do some dishes, and you're oh, the counter's really dirty. You stop doing dishes, you start to do the counters. Oh, look at the kids' toys are everywhere. Okay, so then you've done a little bit of a lot of things, yet nothing is done. See what I mean? It's the same thing in our business. So we have to be really diligent and do all of one task at one time. So start to finish. So for me, that means, I'm going to take it a step further. The first things you should be doing are income producing activities, IPAs, first. So that does not mean answering your messages. This is going to be the number one thing I want you to take away from this business, is stop answering messages on the fly. I'll say it a lot of times in my little training here, because it is a game changer in your business when you stop doing that. Because if you're answering messages on the fly, you are getting no other work done. It will take up all of your time. Time will go so fast. It's not it's not really an income producing activity, because a lot of times you're talking to Carol about her dog isn't building your business, So I get that you might be in a conversation with somebody like who's a potential client or coach, and that's wonderful, and you should set aside time to answer those messages, but not on the fly, because you can't track. You will lose people, and if you answer messages on the fly, it creates the illusion for your business that if they were to become a coach, they would have to be at their clients and coaches beck and call as well, and that is hashtag not sexy. That is not sexy. We do this business as a side hustle. Even if, like, my side hustle was a full-time income, but I was doing it as a side hustle to provide for my family, like to be able to have that freedom, and being tied to your phone is not freedom. Okay. So, that's my little tangent. So think about what moves your business forward. Okay. That should be a no-brainer. That's follow-ups and inviting. And of course, like, I'm not even going to talk about, like, you guys have to be products of the product. Like, no business inviting to coaching or new clients if you're not being a product of the product. Like, you have no business. So now you're going to say that again. So you're inviting and follow-ups, for me, those are like number one things, client and coach invites. If you're missing on one of those categories, you're missing a whole bucket of people. There are two buckets. Some people want to start right out of the gate as coaches, and some people want to start as clients, and both are fabulous buckets. So you have to be inviting from both of your buckets. And follow-ups. So for me, in the morning, after I do my workout, and I usually listen to PD either while I work out or I'm getting ready, or in the car later that day, whatever. But for me, my day is not complete until I do follow-ups and my invites. So I just start with those, because then when I get through those, the rest of the day, or my pockets throughout the day, is gravy. Basically, I get to answer messages then, and I get to check in with my team. But those other things don't bring you direct income. They don't actively grow your business. You have to focus on the things that do first, start to finish. Okay. So make that commitment to yourself. Make your business sexy, make it a priority, because you're a boss. And so, you can totally work in power pockets or in power hours. It doesn't matter. Just do your start to finish, like, it doesn't, and again, don't get that confused. Like, if you have a power pocket of 10 minutes, don't think you need to get all of your follow-ups done, but just do follow-ups during that 10 minutes. And then when you're done at your next power pocket, maybe finish your follow-ups. Or if you are done, go to your invites, like, just get disciplined with your activities. Like, you want to think like a to-do list, a checklist, and like, you want to mark all of the things off. So start and finish each task. Start with the things that bring you income and actively grow your business. So, and another thing is new convos, like growing your network. So growing your network / new convos, inviting, and follow-ups. It's like the big parts of my business. So a couple of things that can really deter you from growing and staying diligent with your time. I'm going to warn you of these things so that you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so how many of you give me a like or a thumbs up or a heart if you've ever found yourself scrolling social media and then you're like, well, okay, it's been 15 minutes. Do you know how many invites I can do in 15 minutes now that I've really disciplined myself these past couple of years? 15 minutes is like, I see dollar signs, because that's people that I could be reaching out to. And like, it's just a waste of time, to be honest. Set aside time that you can scroll social media and be mindless, like at night when you're getting in bed, or some people don't like to do that because it's like screen time, or like when you're watching a show or something, but don't do it when you should be doing other income producing activities. How many of you guys follow a lot of coaches, other coaches? Might be people on your team, might be just people you look up to. Probably a lot of you, because I sure did. And there's nothing wrong with following people for inspiration or people you're genuinely friends with in this business. There's nothing wrong with that, but here's my warning is it can be a time waster. It can be a joy stealer. If you follow somebody who you find yourself comparing and feeling jealous and feeling like you could never be them, click that unfollow button. Promise me you're gonna do that, because comparing is a joy stealer. You should find people that inspire you to push harder, but you shouldn't be following a zillion coaches, because you're gonna find yourself just comparing what you're doing to what they're doing, and you may lose yourself. I have a parrot personality, so when I do. So when I find myself watching the same people, I find myself I do this in a social setting. If I'm around the same person a lot, I pick up their mannerisms and their little isms, the little ways that they talk. I pick that up, not on purpose, but you may find yourself doing that too. And comparing and feeling jealous is not something that's going to grow your business. You're gonna have to do twice as much PD to get out of that. So find people that you're genuinely happy for and people that inspire you to keep pushing. I like to tell my coaches, follow no more than 5 other coaches. And that's not to say if you're friends with somebody or you want to show support on their stuff, there's a search bar, you can search and go watch their Instagram stories at night or whatever. I don't follow every single coach on my team, because I would find myself doing audits of what they're doing at all times of the day, and that's not moving my business forward either. It's their business, I'm not their boss, you know what I mean? So we can also and that leads me to my next point, is we can get distracted by all the shiny things. If you see what Taylor's doing, you're I need to do what Taylor's doing. So you abandon ship on what you're doing, which might have been working, it might not have been working yet, but you were building consistency and you jumped ship to do what Taylor's doing. You're gonna have to start over with consistency and time and all of that stuff that's so important. So don't do that. Don't get distracted by all the shiny things. Find what works for you. This business is so simple. Blinders on when you're working, be working, and don't compare yourself to those other coaches, and don't get distracted by all the trainings. Like I said, this business is so super simple. The vitals are what grow your business. If you ask any top coach, anyone who's ever been a top coach, the current top coaches, they will tell you what they did to move their business forward and to get there is the vitals. That's what they're going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that they did this miraculous training, these 75 trainings and the compilation of that, 75 zillion hours is what got them there. They're not going to tell you that. Our business is so simple. It takes hard work, don't get that twisted, but it is simple. So just buckle down and do your stuff. Talk to your coach, find your groove, to find what works for you. And the biggest thing with time management is scheduling your time. And this can sound so rigid and kind of weird, but I have a Google Calendar and I schedule everything. If I don't put it on my Google Calendar, I will forget to do it. So my workout is on there, and I learned this from Melanie Mitchell. She showed us this at New Leader Conference this year, and it was beautiful. It's the teacher in me loves that you can color code and stuff, and it doesn't get so bogged down. I schedule in family time because that is important to me. That's a huge part of why I'm at home now, is to spend quality time with my son. If I'm just I'm home all day, I have 12 hours now to work my business, I can just send a couple invites here and there. That's not diligent time. That's time wasted. That's not being present for my son or my business. It's not fair to anybody that's involved, and it's not fair to me either. and it's not going to bring me joy. It's going to cause burnout, because you're going to feel like you're on your phone all the time, and your significant other will probably feel that way times 10. So do yourself and your whole family a favor and just schedule everything. It feels weird to put in a block that says family time, but you will find yourself, if you like don't honor that, you'll find yourself feeling super guilty because you scheduled it. Like if you were at your job and you had a meeting and you were just like, no, I'm not gonna go, like I'm just gonna be on my phone, you would get fired, you know? Like treat everything like that you're making a commitment to yourself. So my workout is on there. I try to put my PD on there if I know it's gonna be a tricky day. Team calls, obviously, things like that I know I need to be a part of. If I see something on Champ's page that I know I wanna tune into, I block that off. So then too, especially on the weekends when my husband is home, I can show him my calendar and show him like what I have going on. Evenings too, especially. So that's all like my tips on time management. But I think my biggest one is you have to set goals. Obviously, pretty much everyone is pretty good at setting goals. Like we know what we want out of this business, but all of these things I taught you, are you doing those things? Are you doing the work to get to those goals? And it can be something that you can easily lose sight of. So my little tip, and you'll hear this in tons of PD books, and it's been a game changer for me and my team, is to just, it doesn't need to be fancy, but just, I like to just write it on a sticky note and put it where I work the most. It's my office right here, and it's on my computer, and I have a daily affirmation on my computer too. So I find myself looking at those two things, and it's almost like a subliminal message. Like I don't mean to think it or read it, but it just seeps into my brain, and then I'm like, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing the work. You need to have a concrete goal. It's not enough to be like, I want more freedom, because then you're not gonna sit down and be like, well, I want to go outside. You know what I mean? So have a concrete goal and write that down so you know why you're doing these income producing activities. And it will be a game changer. All these things sound super simple and kind of boring. And that is a good thing, because that's how I grew my business, was consistency and doing the same things compounded with time. It's nothing crazy. I promise I don't have like this crazy training that my coaches go through, and that's like the secret sauce. The secret sauce is being consistent and managing your time. That's it. And it's so simple, and that's why every single one of you can do it and become whatever type of earner, whatever rank you want to be, whatever you want to do with this business, you can do it, because it's simple. It takes hard work. You have to be hardworking, but the actions are simple. So promise me, put this in the comments, like, I am committing to time management. I don't know, that's like not a sexy phrase, like, but so just say like, I'm committing. Thanks, girl. I'm mic drop. I'm glad. Because it's simple, but put it into action. Like, let's go. Like, let's do this together. And if you have any questions or anything about how I schedule or whatever, just tag me in this, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. But thanks for letting me hang out today. Go get some focused work done, start to finish, and over time, it will be a game changer in your business. I promise.